Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. If you remember this succulent, that is Echeveria atlantis, I think I had made a video on it. I will put it on the screen so that you can get a better idea for people who have not watched that video. So on the right hand side, this is how the succulent looked initially. When I had purchased it, there was a lot of edema, lot of burn marks kind of a thing, and there was a lot of new growth coming up on the crown, as you can see in this video. But now on the left hand side, this is how the succulent tends to look at the present date. Of course, the succulent looks absolutely beautiful. Now this is something that I wanted to talk because it's very important, especially for a lot of people who are just starting off with succulents, or if you are a beginner. Now if I'm going to ask you a question, does this succulent look healthy? Of course, a lot of you guys will say yes, it is definitely healthy. A lot of new growth, the leaves look a little bit much fresh. And of course, yes, the succulent is doing quite well as compared to what it was earlier. But there is another issue. Now, I do have a good amount of experience with succulents. I can tell the succulent is doing quite well, but it's not in its best condition. Now, if you're wondering why, now if we're going to take a closer look at the succulent, of course, the succulent is very well hydrated, but this succulent is in its initial stage of stretching. Now, how I am so sure about it? Because ideally this succulent is supposed to have leaves that are slightly matte finished, but over here, as you can see, they are little glossy. Now, everything over here is related with light. This succulent is in its early stage of stretching. You can see the lower leaves. They are kind of pointing towards the soil. They are bending downwards, which indicates it is lacking light. Now, of course, the case in my city is because of the monsoons, there is very less light. Apart from that, in order to save the succulent from rain, I kept it in a place where it was not getting a lot of light. That is the reason why it is stretching a little bit. Now, a lot of beginners might think that the succulent is very healthy and might leave it as it is, but that is where the issue is going to start. The succulent will start looking ugly day by day because it will start bending all its leaves on the lower side. That is, it will start bending the leaves downwards in order to grasp as much light as possible. This is the early stage. Now I am slowly moving it to indirect bright light so that it can start getting compact back again, but this is the initial stage. Now if I'm going to turn the succulent around, you can see this is a perfect example of low light, initial stage of stretching. You will be able to see the stem. Ideally, in an Echeveria, the stem should not be evident, especially if it's a rosette Echeveria. There are some Echeverias that do tend to put out stems that are different variety, but this is Atlantis. It is not supposed to have an evident stem. It should be more like a rosette. But over here, you can see just with the side profile, you can see it is kind of bending towards the light. So this is the early stage of your succulent asking for more light. If you are going to ignore it, the succulent will start to stretch. Eventually, it will become vertically taller. It's not supposed to be vertically taller. It should be more horizontal, or it should spread wide. It should grow wide rather than growing vertical. So this is one issue related with light. There is no issue with the soil. There is no issue with watering. Everything is working out really well. The only thing that it lacks is light, and that's what we are going to take care about. So when you're growing succulents, these are all the things that you need to keep in mind. What are the things that you're giving to your succulent? If you're giving excess watering, then the leaves will start turning yellow, so you have to reduce the watering. If you're watering very less, then the succulent will start closing inwards. So everything is in balance, whether it's the light, whether it's watering, everything should be in balance, and that's when your succulent will do quite well. Now, of course, I will be moving this succulent in indirect bright light. I cannot afford to give direct sunlight at this point of time. If I'm going to do that, the succulent leaves will get burnt. So I have to first keep it in indirect bright light, probably for a month or so. Once things get better, then I can do a slow introduction to morning direct sunlight. As of now, morning direct sunlight could be a little bit of challenge because it has been raining on and off. We are yet not into the monsoon season, into a complete monsoon season. It is just the initial start of the season. So there is irregular rains. They're not very frequent, but once we get into the monsoon season, the rains are going to be even more frequent, which means that the sunlight is going to be even less. So I have to make optimum use of whatever light is available for me and grow my succulents. So this is going to be kept in indirect bright light, and we will keep a check on how it's doing. Right now it is stretched. I wouldn't say it's like completely stretched, but it is just the tip, or I would say just the initial stage. The leaves are bending downwards. So if you have a case like this, the succulent is telling you that it is lacking light, you have to offer more light. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Apart from that, overall the succulent is doing absolutely well. It's taking up water very well. It's growing very well. The growth rate is quite well. The leaves are also looking fantastic. Edema is only available on the lower leaves because that's how it came from the cellar. So I can't complain, but you can see on the upper leaves there is no edema because it is getting balanced watering. Everything is being taken care. Only the lower leaves are going to have it. As I've said, this edema is permanent. It is going to stay on the leaf as long as the leaf is attached to the mother plant. If you tend to propagate this, you can definitely propagate it. The new pups will not have edema provided you give the balanced watering. So guys, that's all about it. Overall, the succulent is doing quite well. Only thing I have to figure out how to offer a good amount of indirect bright light so that the succulent can start getting a little bit more compact and start growing wider rather than growing vertically. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.